Gertrude Helena Bernays, actually Fisher, was born in Frankfurt, Germany on December 28th, 1923. She was the oldest of 4 kids, and she had to do a lot of caretaking of the rest of the kids. They didn't have a lot of money, so I do remember that she was sent to go work on a farm in the country in the summers. The German city kids were almost like slave labor to these farmers. They fed them and all, but they didn't get it wasn't a lot of love and cuddles. She was in charge of the children a lot, especially early on when her mom passed. She was in charge of her siblings and did a lot of work in the house, a lot of cooking and cleaning. So she didn't have an easy life.
Her mom would frequently give the food more to the dad and to the kids, and then she wouldn't always eat properly. She developed tuberculosis, and she actually went away to, I guess they have sanatoriums or sanitariums where you would go and you would rest and get good nutrition, which was what the treatment for TB was. But then when she came back, she didn't take care of herself as well, so she ended up dying early. That's when my mom ended up taking care of her younger brothers and sisters. And she would describe getting on her bike and riding miles out into the country where the farmers were in order to beg for a few potatoes where they could make some potato soup or have something to eat. Towards the end of the war, Germany was losing, and she would tell me that the Americans and the British would bomb them constantly. So I can't remember if the Americans bombed during the day and the British bombed at night or vice versa, but they were constantly being bombed. And she described having a bag with basically all of her really important worldly possessions in it, and the sirens would go off, and they'd have to go running for the bomb shelters.
If they felt like something hit the apartment building, they had to run back upstairs and put out a fire. If there was a fire, they had sand buckets in corners and water buckets. So throughout the war, it was not an easy thing.
She never had a whole lot of nice things to say about her dad. I guess he was kind of sort of selfish, in it's how she described him to me. During the war, he was kept pretty busy because he would have to clean up after bombings and things. And she described to me that he died during the war, towards the end of the war, when a bomb shelter he was in, a bomb hit the side of the building that it was under, and the blast knocked him across the basement or the bomb shelter where he was, and so he was hurt, spent a few days in the hospital before he passed away. She got a job working in, I think it was the snack bar on the Air Force Base where, and that's how she met Pop-Up.
Dad used to go into the officers club and drink coffee, and he used to shred wooden stir sticks because he'd sit there for a while, and I think they struck up a relationship, and then people knew that they sort of liked each other, so the girls would always give her the table that he would be sitting at. They decided to get married. My dad had to get papers from the commander of the base to marry a German citizen, and they got married by the Burgermeister, which is the mayor in the town of Frankfurt. And then he had to leave and go back to the States and relocate to Iceland. And he had to work in Iceland for a while, but he promised he would send a plane ticket to Mom and bring her to the States.
I can't even imagine leaving everything I've ever known my entire life and flying with this guy that, by this point they probably had known each other a year or so, but barely spoke the language, each other's language. Grammie would talk about how they kept calling of her last call to board the plane, and she just she just kept going back and hugging and kissing and crying, with all of her relatives, because she didn't know when she was going to see them again. So it was very traumatic, but she loved Pop and wanted to make a new life for herself, so she did that. She was just such a warm and welcoming person. So she had a lot of friends. She was 91 when she passed away, and she still had friends that she had met when she first lived in Texas and Oklahoma, which is the first place that Pop was stationed after they got married.
I still stay in touch with some of those people that are, 90, because she was such good friends with them, that I feel like they're my friends. She was just a really good example of a really good person and a really good Christian.